This is part 2, episode 129. When that curse appeared, the purple-black flame that had launched out of the spatial crack, like a volcano, immediately became sluggish. After which, it swiftly pulled back in front of many stunned eyes. Within the blink of an eye, it slid back into the fissure. The sea of fire that had caused Holy Pill City to descend into a panic had disappeared in such a comical fashion. The chaos around the city had also come to a halt at this moment. Numerous stunned eyes stared at the spatial crack in the sky. Of course, more accurately speaking, at the skinny figure standing next to the spatial crack. That is Xiao Yan. He is still alive. Oh gosh, how is that possible? Why is it those flames, that even the great heads from the pill tower could not handle, obeyed his words? After the stunned feeling lasted for a moment, someone finally recognized this star-like figure, who the hot topic of everyone within Holy Pill City half a year ago. In an instant, numerous private conversations rapidly sprung up within the city. Even with Xiao Yang's calmness, he felt a little weird being stared at by these strange gazes. He raised his head and smiled at the stunned faces of Xian Kongzi's trio in the sky. He asked, "Three association heads, how are you?" "Xiao Yang. You are really still alive." The faces of Xian Kongzi's trio were filled shock and disbelief, especially Xian Kongzi's face. He was someone who had personally entered the star region, and understood the cruel environment within it extremely well. Even he did not dare to remain for long within it, yet Xiao Yang had been able to remain inside it for 8 months without being hurt. Xiao Yang could only shrug his shoulders when he saw the stunned eyes of those three. His hand rubbed over the spatial door, and it slowly disappeared. The high temperature that had spread over Holy Pill City also suddenly disappeared. Your aura. Xian Kongzi's trio were no ordinary people. They gradually recovered after their initial surprise. Their eyes carefully swept over Xiao Yang, and the surprise in them became even richer. The aura of the current Xiao Yang was vastly different compared to when he had entered the star region back then. You have subdued the 3,000 burning flame." Xian Kongzi's eyes flickered. He suddenly seemed to have thought of something as he gently inhaled a breath of cool air and inquired. Old Xian isn't thinking of taking it back, are you?" Xiao Yang laughed and asked. "I am fine if you have resolved that threat." Xian Kongzi could not resist sighing in relief when he saw that Xiao Yang did not deny it. Immediately, he smacked his mouth and said, "However, I did not expect you to subdue the 3,000 burning flame. The stubbornness of that fellow is something that the three of us witnessed." Xiao Yang smiled. He was just about to speak, when a white figure suddenly rushed over from a short distance away. Before he could recover, it had already rushed to his side. Icy-cool hands grabbed his arm. A pretty and alluring face was currently filled with a joy that could not be hidden. There was a little redness in her pretty eyes. She appeared extremely attractive, and would really catch the affection of others. "Relax, I'm fine." Xiao Yang revealed a warm smile on his face. He softly comforted the little fairy doctor as he looked at her. She was grabbing his hand without speaking while staring at him with a pair of red, pretty eyes. I have already said that he is definitely fine. My dragon seal will not be wrong." Ziyang's laughing voice was also transmitted from behind the little fairy doctor. However, Xiao Yang could still hear the sigh of relief and joy within her tone. "Old Mr. Yao, I have caused all of you to worry." Xiao Yang patted the little fairy doctor's icy-cool hand, turned his head, and spoke with a smile to Tian Huozunja, who had followed close behind. Tian Huozunja smiled and shook his head. His eyes swept over Xiao Yang and shock flashed across them. He could sense that Xiao Yang's current strength was already at the 9-star Do Zone level. When Xiao Yang had stepped into the star region back then, he had been around the level of a 4-star Do Zone. Within less than a year, his strength had soared to such an extent. After having followed Xiao Yang for such a long time, Tian Huozunja was clearly aware of his fighting abilities. When he was at the 4-star Do Zone level, he had been able to defeat Tian Shi, an expert at the peak of the Do Zone class. Now that he had reached the 9-star Do Zone level, it was likely that no one within the Do Zone class was a match for him. Even some of the weaker Do Zones might not gain an upper hand against him. Your training speed, it is really frightening. If this continues, it is likely that it will not be difficult for you to break through to the Do Zone class. Tian Huozunja bitterly laughed in his heart and sighed. After which, he glanced at little fairy doctor and said, "The one who has been most worried about you is her. While you were missing, she constantly thought of entering the star region. If the three association heads had not stopped her, she would have forcefully barged in. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's eyes looked at the little fairy doctor, who was skinnier compared to before. A complicated emotion surged into his heart at this moment. The most difficult thing to accept in this world was the favor of a beauty. The little fairy doctor had left the Chuyun Empire with him to head to the Black Corner region, and had followed him to the Central Plains. She had never uttered any complaints despite traveling such great distances. Although Xiao Yang had helped her resolve her woeful poison body, it was still difficult to make up for this favor of having her follow him all the time. The little fairy doctor appeared to have sensed the change in Xiao Yang's eyes. This caused her to feel a little panic. She was like a shocked deer as she released her hands and softly said, "Everyone was worried about you. Do not do such dangerous things in the future." Xiao Yang nodded with a smile. He returned the emotion within his heart as swept his eyes around. When he saw the large lineup of the pill tower around him, he involuntarily laughed. After which, he cupped his hands to Xian Kongzi's trio and said, "I'm sorry to have caused the pill tower trouble. It is fine as long as you are fine. I have suffered much pestering from Xian Yi during this period of time. Moreover, if something happened to you in our pill tower's territory, Yao Chen would definitely have come and found trouble when he escapes in the future." Xian Kongzi waved his hand and laughed. "Teacher." The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth was curled when he heard this name. A cold and stern expression flashed across his eyes. He had successfully obtained the 3,000 burning flame. It was time to rescue teacher from the hands of the Hall of Souls. Seeing Xiao Yang's somewhat cold and stern face, Xian Yi appeared to have thought of something. She softly said, "This is not a place to talk. Let's enter the pill tower. We have also obtained some information about where Yao Chen has been imprisoned while you were in the star region." Xiao Yang's heart suddenly leaped when he heard her words. He quickly suppressed the anxiety in his heart and heavily nodded. "Based on the information that we have obtained, the Hall of Souls thought of transferring Yao Chen when it dispatched people after you back then. However, due to the matters of the pill gathering, that transfer ended up being delayed. However, during the half a year you were missing, they have possessed sufficient time to shift Yao Chen from the western region's Ming City." Xian Kongzi spoke with a grave expression in a meeting room within the pill tower. "He has indeed shifted her." Xiao Yang's expression sank, and his fists were slightly clenched. "In that case, may I know where the Hall of Souls has imprisoned teacher?" Xiao Yang's eyes were searing hot as they stared at Xian Kongzi. The information gathering of the pill tower was much better than the 4 members of his group randomly searching around. With their help, it would definitely be much easier to do things. There's some clues, but it has not been verified. We still need some time in order to obtain the exact information. Xian Yu slowly said. "However, there is no need for you to be anxious. With our current information, it should be quite soon before we can investigate everything properly." Xiao Yang slightly nodded. He could only rely on the information he receives from the pill tower at this moment. "You need not be overly worried. The Hall of Souls has great use for Yao Chen. Unless they have no other choice, they will not take his life." Xian Kongzi comforted, appearing to be unwilling to let Xiao Yang be overly worried. "Yes, thank you association heads. Additionally, if we manage to obtain information, we can only rely on your abilities. Should we lend our hands, we will definitely anger the Hall of Souls and a big battle might erupt. The current pill tower is no match for the Hall of Souls." Therefore, Xian Kongzi was quiet for a moment before he softly spoke. "It is already enough that the pill tower is helping me find the location where the Hall of Souls has imprisoned teacher. Xiao Yang will feel bad if I get even more help." Xiao Yang did not feel anything with regards to this point. Xian Kongzi's trio were the great heads of the pill tower. Every word and action they made represented the pill tower. Moreover, the Hall of Souls was extremely terrifying. If a big battle were to erupt, the implications would be incredible. Hence, even Xian Kongzi's group would not dare to openly declare war with the Hall of Souls unless they had no other choice. "You can rest assured. No matter what, the Hall of Souls is an enemy of my pill tower. We will do our best to help you." Xian Kongzi replied while feeling a little sorry. Xiao Yang smiled, cupped his hands together, and said, "In that case, I shall thank old Xian first. You should rest in the pill tower during this period of time. You can act immediately once we have obtained information. Xiao Yang smiled and nodded. He clenched his hand and a jade piece appeared in it. It was something they could transmit information. Feng Zunja had given it to him before he had left back then. Now, it was time to summon him over. Once he had gathered everyone and obtained the information he needed, he would charge into the place where Yao Lao was imprisoned and rescue him. Teacher, relax. Soon, disciple will be able to rescue you. Xiao Yang raised his head. He inhaled a gentle breath, and a dark killing intent flashed across his black eyes. He would definitely return the pain that the Hall of Souls had given Yao Lao 1,000 times over. Crack! Killing intent surged in Xiao Yang's heart. He suddenly clenched his hand and the jade piece abruptly shattered. After chatting with the three great heads a little longer, Xiao Yang's group finally bid them farewell and returned to their room. Has anything happened during this period of time? Xiao Yang randomly asked after having entered the room. Due to the Yi clan having many matters to deal with, Yi Zhong could only return to Yi City with Xinlan in disappointment after waiting hopelessly for a long time. The little fairy doctor politely informed him. Yes. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. The current Yi clan was in a bad state. Being the first elder of the clan, Yi Zhong was unable to wait around Holy Pill City. Being able to wait for about half a year was enough to let Xiao Yang know Yi Zhong was sincere. Additionally, people from the profound Xian sect came to find trouble once during this period of time. Their so-called junior sect leader and two elders went missing within the Pill realm together. It is likely that they had met with some mishap. They think that you are the one responsible. Hence, they would frequently come to find trouble. However, Cao Ying was a witness and said that the one who had killed the people from the profound Xian sect was old Mu Jiyu. Adding in Pill Tower's mediation, the other party unwillingly left. The little fairy doctor slightly frowned and said, however, from the way I see it, they still hate you. If they were to obtain news that you left the Star region in one piece, they will definitely come and find trouble. What a bunch of stubborn people. Xiao Yang knit his eyebrows. He immediately waved his hand and said, just leave them be. If they really come looking for trouble, there is no need for us to be polite. These people are not good people either. Yes. Xiao Yang sat in a chair. His eyes swept over the little fairy doctor's lovely body and surprise flashed within them. He said, your aura seems to have also become much stronger during this period of time. The poison Dan in my body possesses a miraculous effect to my training. I have improved quite significantly during this 1 year's time. The little fairy doctor curled her mouth into a smile as she replied. What significantly? Your current strength has likely reached the peak of a 3-star Dozun. With this training speed, it is likely that very few people within the Dozun class can compete with you. A completely controlled woeful poison body is indeed terrifying, Qian Huozunja by her side bitterly laughed. His tone was also quite complicated. His strength had also advanced a little during this period of time. However, it was far inferior when compared to the little fairy doctor's increase. Peak of the 3-star Dozun her, surprise flashed across Xiao Yang's face. If the current little fairy doctor's woeful poison body were to completely erupt, it was likely that she could even fight against the valley chief of the Ice River Valley. This woeful poison body was indeed mysterious. Old Mr. Yao need not belittle yourself. You have stabilized yourself at the peak of a 1-star Dozun within a short year. Breaking through to a 2-star Dozun, or even recovering to your previous peak, is merely a matter of time. The little fairy doctor smiled as she responded. Difficult. Being able to recover to the strength of a Dozun has already exceeded my expectations. I was merely at the level of a 5-star Dozun back at my peak, Qian Huozunja bitterly laughed. He naturally understood just how difficult it was for him to recover to his peak. Every level within the Dozun class was unusually difficult to advance to. Spending decades, or even centuries, was not a rare occurrence. This reason was why he felt shocked and envious at the little fairy doctor's training speed. That may not be certain, Xiao Yang's finger gently knocked on the table. He mused for a moment before slowly saying, one will indeed need quite a long time to return to one's peak through normal training. However, other methods can drastically reduce this period of time. You mean, relying on medicinal pills? Qian Huozunja's shriveled hand tightened around the teacup he was holding. His bitterly smiling face had a fiery heat flashing over it. At his level, only medicinal pills that had reached the 8th tier could aid him. May I know if old Mr. Yao has ever heard of a medicinal pill called the fungus green pill? Xiao Yan smiled and asked. Fungus green pill. Tian Huazunja was startled. The fiery heat within his eyes surged. An excited expression also flashed across his face. The fungus green pill rumored to be able to allow one whose strength has deteriorated to return to one's peak. The fungus green pill does indeed have some use. However, it cannot allow you to return to your peak strength as you have described. That is merely a rumor. Based on my estimates, if old Mr. Yao consumes this medicinal pill, you should be able to recover to the 3-star Dozun level. Xiao Yang smiled and shook his head as he cleared up some myths. 3-star, that is also sufficient. Tian Huazunja was not disappointed. Being able to leap from 1 star to 3 stars was also an extremely swift improvement. However, this fungus green pill is a tier 8 medicinal pill. It is extremely troublesome to refine. Even an ordinary tier 8 alchemist guru would find it difficult to successfully refine. Xiao Yang involuntarily smiled and continued after seeing Tian Huazunja's hesitant expression, leave this matter to me. Old Mr. Yao has helped me plenty. Now, I should reimburse you a little. No matter how one put it, Tian Huazunja had indeed been Xiao Yang's a good assistant during this period. They had made an agreement in the past that as long as Xiao Yang helped refine a body that could accommodate Tian Huazunja's soul, he would become Xiao Yang's guard for a year. Currently, 1 year's time was already up. Xiao Yang would naturally need to help him out a little more if Xiao Yang wanted the other party to stay. Moreover, he would likely have to head to the Hall of Souls to rescue Yao Lao very soon. At that time, it was naturally best for his lineup to be as strong as possible. By helping Tian Huazunja raise his strength, it would raise their chances of success. This saying thanks does not do such a big favor justice. The old me will remember this favor in my heart. Tian Huazunja widened his mouth. His courteous words circulated in his mouth before being swallowed into his stomach. He nodded and uttered those words in a deep voice. Once I have rested a couple more days, I will try to help old Mr. Yao refine a fungus green pill before the pill tower manages to obtain any information. Xiao Yang grinned. He stood up and walked to his room. He said, it is already quite late. All of you should rest early. Inform me if the pill tower has any news. I might undertake a retreat for a couple of days. The little fairy doctor and the other two nodded when they heard his commands. Only Zi Yang muttered some dissatisfied words related to a retreat within her mouth. Xiao Yang sat on the bed within a room lit with a warm light. He clenched his hand and a scroll appeared in his hand. It was the remaining 3 seals of the God Seal skill that Zun had given to him before she left. Xiao Yang's heart was clearly aware of the might of the God Seal skill, a full set of DI class high-level Do techniques. Even if one were to split every seal within it, it would definitely still be stronger than ordinary DI class high-level Do techniques. If the 5 seals were to stack on each other, its might would be comparable to a Qian class Do technique. By being able to become one of the ultimate skills of the Jiyu clan, it definitely did not possess an empty name. The God Seal skill was divided into 5 seals. However, Xiao Yang had only learned the first 2 seals. In the past, the might of the first 2 seals had been enough for him. However, as the experts he came into contact with became stronger, the open mountain seal and the sea-flipping seal were gradually becoming clumsy. Hence, before he made the trip to rescue Yao Lao, Xiao Yang needed to learn the remaining God Seal skills. At that time, he would have gained some additional tactics. The scroll that Zun had left behind recorded the training methods for the last 3 seals, the overturning land seal, sky-burying seal, and the ancient God Seal. With Xiao Yang's current strength, it was more than sufficient for him to practice the overturning land seal, while it would be a little strenuous for him to practice the sky-burying seal. He would be helpless to practice the final ancient God Seal. Based on what was recorded on the scroll, seldom anyone managed to successfully master the last ancient God Seal even within the Jiyu clan. From this, one could tell just how difficult it was to practice this thing. However, Xiao Yang was not greedy. He understood that one could not gain everything in one go. Being able to successfully learn the overturning land seal and the sky-burying seal was already enough to greatly strengthen his combat strength. Xiao Yang made up his mind within his heart. He did not delay any longer as he remembered all the information within the scroll in his mind. After which, he slowly shut his eyes and began to form some unfamiliar and complicated hand seals in front of him. The level of the god seal skill was quite high. It could also be considered one of the profound Do techniques within the Jiu clan. The difficulty in practicing it was quite great. Fortunately, Xiao Yan could no longer be considered a novice. He possessed the experience from practicing the first 2 seals. At this moment, he might not be able to successfully master the seals, but they would become familiar more quickly. A young man sat cross-legged within a quiet room. His hands continued to switch between numerous dazzling hand seals. While the hand seals changed, threads of strange ripples quietly spread from them. 5 days swiftly passed while Xiao Yang was practicing the God Seal skill. During this period of time, Xiao Yang had used the overturning land seal and the sky-burying seal countless numbers of times. During this training where he forgot to eat and rest as well as Xiao Yang's past experience, he gradually became familiar with the overturning land seal. He also got a glimpse at the sky-burying seal. Based on this speed, it was likely only a matter of time before Xiao Yang mastered them. This tireless training by Xiao Yang continued for 7 days. However, it was suddenly broken by the little fairy doctor. Just when he was rejoicing, because he thought that the pill tower had managed to obtain news about Yao Lao, the little fairy doctor informed him that trouble had come knocking on his door. Xiao Yang was startled when he heard the little fairy doctor's words. A dark chill immediately flashed across his eyes. Profound Xian sect. The little fairy doctor slightly nodded. She softly said, moreover, quite a number of people have come. This time around, it looks like the chief of the profound Xian sect wants to take your life for his son's life. Xiao Yang was expressionless. He got down from the bed and faintly said, in that case, let's just see if he is qualified. Xiao Yang took the lead to walk out of the room after his voice sounded. The other party had stepped over their heads. If they were to choose to hide and not meet them, it was likely that the name of the pill-gathering champion would really become a joke. There was a plaza built from smooth granite outside of the pill tower. Usually, the human traffic did not come to a halt around here. This spot was also a place in Holy Pill City where a large crowd was gathering. However, at this moment, the human flow that was supposed to constantly be moving had gathered into an enormous crowd. There was an empty area in the middle of these people. Nearly 100 figures were standing straight in this empty ground. The cold auras that vaguely spread from them caused the expressions of quite a number of people to change. At a glance, one could tell that these were no ordinary people. It was obvious that they were full of ill intent from the way they had arrived in a high-profile manner. They looked like people from the profound Xian sect. Could that grey-clothed elder leading them be the chief of the profound Xian sect, Chen Tiannan? It is unexpected that even this old demon has personally come. What are they planning to do? It is rumored that they seem to be after Xiao Yang. Rumor has it that the junior chief of the profound Xian sect had been killed by Xiao Yang in the pill realm. This old demon should be here to take revenge. No wonder they are covered with so much killing intent. Looks like the matter today will not end nicely. The expression in the eyes of the grey-clothed elder at the leader's spot of the group turned cold upon hearing the numerous private conversations around him. His eyes were filled with a dense chill as they swept over the crowd. The people at the spots where his eyes swept over felt their heart turn cold. They hurriedly shut their mouths. The profound Xian sect were not good people. It was not rare for them to draw their blades at the first sign of disagreement. Moreover, they took revenge for any offense. Whoever offended them would definitely end up with an extremely miserable fate. Chief Chen, this is the Pill Tower. Just what are you planning to do by leading so many people with great killing intent over? A cold cry was suddenly transmitted from the Pill Tower while everyone was being deterred by Chen Tiannan expression. Immediately, an elderly figure led many experts from the Pill Tower and swiftly surged out. After which, they stood around the square. Everyone took a look and found that it was the first elder of the Pill Tower, Xiao Ling. Elder Xiao Ling, you need not use your Pill Tower to put pressure on the old me. Other people might be afraid of this, but the old me isn't. Chen Tiannan's eyes were ice cold as they stared at Xiao Ling. He said, my son died to the hands of Xiao Yang. Today, the old me shall leave some ruthless words. I am here to look for him to accompany my son in death. Xiao Ling did not frown. He replied in a deep voice, I have long since said that you can go and look for that old bastard Mu Jiyu from the Hall of Souls regarding this matter. That old bastard Mu Jiyu might have some responsibility, but Xiao Yang is also one of the murders. Hand him to the old me and the old me will leave immediately. Chen Tian-nan coldly demanded. What do you treat the pill tower as? Must we hand him over just because you say so? You, Chen Tian-nan, still do not possess such prestige. Xiao Ling furiously cried out, when he saw that this old fellow was extremely stubborn. Elder Xiao Ling really acts in a mighty manner. No matter how one puts it, the Profound Xian sect is also considered one of the 3 lower sects of my Profound Sky sect. If we cannot even take revenge for the son of a chief, who will trust our Profound Sky sect in the future? A figure slowly stepped out from behind Chen Tian-nan and faintly laughed after Xiao Ling's words sounded. Who are you? Xiao Ling's eyes narrowed as he stared at the figure who had stepped forward. The person seemed quite young. He was tall with an extremely handsome face that looked like that of a woman. However, there was some violence hidden between his brows. This caused his excellent appearance to possess a darkness. Sky Profound Sect, Yi Chen. That handsome man slightly smiled. His demeanor was quite extraordinary. However, when this simple name sounded, it caused everyone to feel a stern and chilling killing intent. Sky Profound Sect, Yi Chen. Xiao Ling was startled when he heard Yi Chen's name. He immediately seemed to have recalled something and began to frown. Yi Chen. Could it be the Yi Chen known as Demon Yi in the Profound Sky sect? The human crowd also turned into an uproar because of the name of this handsome man. The gazes that were looking at this man revealed fear. That manner was as though this Yi Chen was some fierce beast from prehistoric times. The name Demon Yi was quite renowned across the Central Plains. Moreover, this name was a fierce one that had been accumulated from a countless number of bloody killings. Within the territory controlled by the Profound Sky sect, the fierce name of Demon Yi was sufficient to cause one to lose all courage from simply hearing his name. Compared to this fierce name, Xiao Yan's reputation was far inferior to this person across Central Plains had Xiao Yan not obtained the champion spot of the pill gathering. This Yi Chen was known as the most outstanding disciple of the Profound Sky sect within a century. Of course, with his current position within the Profound Sky sect, even some elders would have to be respectful when facing him. Everyone knew that with this person's strength and ruthless tactics, he would definitely become the next chief of the Profound Sky sect. Although there were some other competitors within the sect, no one had ever imagined that the others would truly be able to compete with this person, whose viciousness caused even the chief of the Profound Sky sect to feel his heart become chilly. The strength of Yi Chen was also extremely frightening when compared with his fierce reputation. The method in which the Profound Sky sect groomed its disciples was extremely bloody and cruel. It was rumored that every generation of direct disciples would have to enter the forbidden ground of the sect after having trained until a certain level. At that place, these people, who were usually brothers with the same teacher, needed to kill each other. Through this method, the one who eventually walked out of the forbidden ground would become the true core disciple of the sect. Moreover, the Qi method of the Profound Sky sect was extremely cruel and overbearing. They were able to forcefully swallow other people's Do Qi. The precondition was that one must swallow it together with the other party's flesh. Those who finally walked out of the forbidden ground would definitely be filled with a bloody scent, because the Do Qi and the flesh of those brothers in training, forever left within the forbidden ground, would become the final victor's nourishment. Yi Chen was the only one who walked out of the forbidden ground of the Profound Sky sect in this generation. Adding this to his frequent battles and killings for the Profound Sky sect during these years, countless numbers of experts had died to his hands. Moreover, his strength had swiftly soared during these killings. At this moment, he had become one of the few people in history of the Profound Sky sect who had reached the peak of the Do Zone class at 30. Moreover, he even showed the terrifying traces of having a foot in the Do Zone class. If one were to describe the Hall of Souls as mysterious and unpredictable, this Profound Sky sect would truly be bloody and cruel. However, this world was ultimately one where the strong ate the weak. This was merely magnified many times within the Profound Xian sect. Moreover, there were signs that the Profound Xian sect was growing stronger, making it obvious that this kind of cruel selection method was indeed an alternative way to train. Of course, the Profound Sky sect's Qi method of being able to swallow other people's flesh to strengthen one's strength might be overbearing, but it came with quite a great sequela. All those who had practiced this Qi method until its peak would eventually end up in a miserable death through a backlash. Hence, this thing was like a catalyst that drained one's life force in order to obtain great strength. Although it was temporary, one would at least shine brightly once. Perhaps this was the thought in the hearts of the previous chiefs of the Profound Sky sect. Elder Xiao Ling, If one really talks about this matter, it can be considered a family matter of Uncle Chen. He must definitely take revenge for his son's death. It would be a little inappropriate for the pill tower to intervene. The smile on Yi Chen's handsome face did not change even a little as the private conversations sparked to life around him. His eyes stared at Xiao Ling as he spoke with a grin. The old me has already said that Xiao Yan is not the one who killed Chen Xian. It is old Mu Jiyu. You are seeking out the wrong target. Xiao Ling replied in a deep voice. If Xiao Yang had not seriously injured my son, they would have been to escape from old Mu Gu's vicious hands. No matter how one puts it, this matter is related to Xiao Yang. Today, my profound Xian sect will not let this matter rest if there is no accountability. Chen Tiannan's eyes were as vicious as snakes as he spoke in a dark and cold manner. Are you threatening my pill tower? Xiao Ling's face sank as he coldly asked. Elder Xiao. The pill tower and the Hall of Souls have been enemies for many years. My profound Xian sect has been maintaining its neutral stance. If there are some matters that are not resolved properly, you might end up pushing a hidden alliance to form with the other party. This is not a good thing for the pill tower. Yi Chen sighed softly as he threatened. Even Xiao Ling's expression had changed a little this time around. He might not be concerned about the words other people spoke, but this Yi Chen was basically the next chief of the Profound Sky sect. Therefore, his words contained some weight. Although the pill tower was strong, a large faction, like the Profound Sky sect, was also extremely powerful. There would be some trouble if one ended up offending them. I would advise you to say less of such words. Moreover, with the status of Chief Chen, he would likely look extremely bad if word of him attacking a member of the younger generation were to spread. No. Xiao Ling spoke in a deep voice. The old me does not care about whatever younger generation, or now. Chen Tiannan coldly laughed. However, before his gritting teeth voice could say everything, Yi Chen by the side extended his hand and halted him. After which, he smiled and said, since Elder Xiao Ling has put it in this manner, we shall not forcefully take him today on account of the pill tower's face. Chen Tiannan became anxious when he heard this. However, he saw a dense smile surfacing on the corner of Yi Chen's mouth. At this moment, Yi Chen's voice suddenly resounded across the entire area, while being accompanied by powerful Do Qi. In that case, I shall establish a battle stage here today, and invite that pill-gathering champion friend, Xiao Yang, to spar. May I know if that well-known champion of the pill-gathering has the courage to receive my challenge? Xiao Ling's expression changed upon hearing this trap. Yi Chen's fierce reputation was something everyone present was aware of. If Xiao Yang were to receive it, it would be difficult to predict whether he would be able to live. This fellow. What a vicious tactic. Xiao Ling quietly cursed in his heart. He was just about to let out a deep cry, when he discovered the space in front of him had suddenly become a little distorted. A skinny figure was partially visible in front of the many stunned gazes as it slowly appeared. Immediately, Xiao Ling quietly cried out, "This is bad," in his heart. The figure slowly appeared while a calm laugh swept over the square like a breeze. Since you insist, Xiao Yang would blacken the name of the pill-gathering champion if I withdraw. In that case, this challenge. I will receive it. This video will end here.